Hi guys, and welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you're not. Today's class is working on our Skandasana, so this side lunge, which takes a lot of hip mobility, ankle mobility, and inner thigh lengthening. So that's what you can expect from the class. If Skandasana is something that you're working on in the sense that it's not quite there for you yet, this class is perfect because I'm assuming that it's a challenging position for you. So we're working on things that will make it more accessible. But equally, if you already have Skandasana in your practice, you can just expect a class that is working into our hips and working into the range that we've got into our ankles. So we'll start the class in child's pose towards the back of the mat, and you can take your knees as wide as you are comfortable to here. So perhaps a little wider than your more traditional child's pose. Sit your bum low towards your heels first, and then keep it as low as you can as you walk those hands away. Let your forehead rest to the mat, or maybe onto a block if you prefer. Maybe just close those eyes to allow your body to settle. Take yourself a deep breath in and a slow breath out. And just as you pause here and take a few more breaths as you really start to focus on how the body is feeling, how the breath is moving. And then let those hands stack up onto fingertips, tenting the hands. As you press those fingertips into the floor, let those hips feel a little heavier down towards the heels. Take a deep, strong breath in and a steady, slow breath out. From there, walk your hands in to draw yourself back upright, and then just draw the knees that little bit close together, hip distance apart. I want you to tuck your toes under behind you and keep your hands here on the mat in front. We're just going to work into those ankles. So I want you to lift as though you're coming into a mini down dog. Get those heels to push towards the mat, press them down, and then drop the knees back to the floor. And then again, lift the hips, push the heels down, keep the knees bent as much as possible, and then pushing them down. Last couple, lift the hips, press through the heels, rest it down. It also switches on your leg muscles quite well. Pushing up, press the heels into the mat, and then drop them back down. As you sit yourself back, just use your hands to lift your knees into a toe stand, and I want you to push your knees away from you. So you're making a big diamond shape with your legs. If you can, see if we can find some balance with the hands to come to those knees. We can then use the hands to keep encouraging the thighs wider. Lift through your chest, keep your gaze steady on one point. Deep breath in. Steady breath out. And then one more. Feet are starting to ache. Let those knees draw back towards hip distance apart, pointing forward. And imagine you've got train tracks down the centre of your mat. And I want you to keep your hips as low as possible. We're going to take a little step forwards with one foot, let the other knee tap down to the mat, and then stay as low as possible as you transition the next foot forwards. Knee taps down to the mat. So again, we're still working into the ankles. Another couple of steps forward, depending on how long your mat is or how long your strides are, until you've come back to a little toe stand. Now we're at the top of the mat. From there, push the hips to the sky as the heels come to the floor into a ragdoll fold. So a soft bend in the knees, belly and thighs are close together, and you can either dangle the arms, cross the arms, any arm variation you like. Let the head hang nice and loose. You have the option to sway, letting those hamstrings get a little bit longer. From there, let the hands come to your shins, and as you inhale, halfway rise, chest lengthens away from the hips, shoulders pull away from the ears. And as you exhale, refold, option to give your heels a little bit of a hug as we take that hamstring stretch a little further. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, release your feet, step your left foot to the back of the mat, big long stride, drop the knee down, and then just wiggle the foot a little bit wider as we come towards lizard. So both hands onto the inside of the foot. Now from there, turn the foot to face off towards the right hand side. It's on a little bit of a diagonal, and roll the knee away from you. So you're opening into that hip, keeping the chest forwards. I want you to take a deep breath in as you keep pulling torso out to the top of the mat. And then as you exhale, we're pushing back into a hamstring stretch. You don't need to straighten the leg, but I want you to try and keep the toes slightly turning outwards. Use the inhale to come back forwards to that lizard lunge, drive the knee away from you. And as you exhale, pull back, keep those toes slightly outwards. Good. Again, breathing in and breathing out. Good. We'll take one more as we come forwards, and then one more as we shift back. Pause here for a moment. Keep flexing the toes back towards the body. Chest stays drawing forwards. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, come back to that outward lizard shape. Push the thigh away. Think about this front foot. The knife edge is against the mat. I want you to push the knife edge down into the floor, and then imagine you're dragging it back towards you. So that should feel pretty intense, pretty effortful. We'll hold for 3, 2, and 1. Let that release. Roll the foot back onto the sole of the foot. Maybe just wiggle the foot a little bit more neutral. Draw the torso up and away from your thigh, and then just shorten your stance a little bit. From there, with our hands to our waist, we're going to let ourselves lunge over that front ankle, but keep the heel on the floor. So we're working on ankle mobility here, as well as getting into those hips as we drive them low. And then as you come all the way up, a little bit of balance, turn the right foot out to face the right hand side, and then do the same in that direction, driving the knee towards the little toe corner of your foot. Coming all the way up, stepping foot short forwards, lunge down towards it, coming up, stepping out towards the right. It's also one that gets your leg muscles really quite fiery. Coming forwards, keep the heel down, and coming wide. And then one more to come forwards, and then one final one to come wide. And just pause in this outward lunge position for a moment. Drive this thigh wider. You could let your arm help it a little bit as your pelvis thinks of dropping towards that right heel. Inner thighs feel that. Deep breath in. And then as you exhale, draw yourself upwards. Your left sit bone is going to sit towards your left heel. Slide that right heel away from you, toes to the sky. Take a deep breath in as the arms reach tall. And as you exhale, let your left arm fold forwards. Your right hand, it can either hold the foot if that's available, or just hold the ankle. You could even just place it to the floor. And if you're holding the leg, feel like you're trying to pull the leg back in towards you as you allow the body to keep folding forwards. So we should feel this quite a lot in our right hamstring, our right inner thigh. Keep pushing the heel away, but also think of pressing the heel down into the floor beside you. Inhale. Exhale. And then one more. On the exhale, release the foot. Push yourself up towards tabletop, 2 knees to the mat, and then hips into the sky for your downward facing dog. You can keep a soft bend in those knees. Sit bones are staying high to the sky. Really think of pushing those heels down, so that you're working on that ankle range to be able to flex the foot, or flex the ankle, should I say. A nice strong push into the arms, deep breath in. And then as you exhale, look forwards, let the feet start to walk towards the top of the mat, coming to find the wrists. Take that ragdoll fold when you get there, keeping that torso and thigh nice and close as you drive the sit bones to the sky. On the inhale, halfway lift, long flat spine, press the thighs away from you. And then as you exhale, hands go down, right foot takes a big stride back, drop down onto the knee, and then just wiggle that left foot a little bit wider, turn the foot out to face slightly off towards the left-hand side. Roll the thigh away from you onto the knife edge of the foot, take a deep breath in, chest is lengthening forwards. And as you exhale and shift back, keep the toes slightly rolled out. Leg doesn't have to be straight, but find that left hamstring stretch. Inhale, rocking forwards. Exhale, shifting back, press the heel down. Great, couple more. Inhale. Exhale. And then last one. Inhale, come forwards. And on the exhale, shift back, pause into this stretch. Toes are still turning slightly outwards. Sit bones rolling out behind you. Press the heel into the mat. Breath in. And then with the breath out, coming back towards the top of the mat. Keep this outward roll of the thigh. Now think of pressing the knife edge of the foot into the mat, but also imagine you're trying to drag that foot to the back of the mat. At the same time, the chest is pulling forwards. It should feel pretty tough into that left hip, inner thigh. One more inhale. And then exhale, soften out of it. Wiggle that foot a little bit more neutral towards the middle of the mat, and then draw yourself upright. Perhaps just shorten the stance between front foot and your kneeling knee. Your hands can come to your waist. From there, think of driving the hips towards the front heel, knee going past the ankle. Keep the heel down. Lift yourself up, step the foot off towards the left as you lunge out towards it in this direction. Good. Keep moving between those two positions. Most of the focus is on the heel staying down, and in this outward rotate, in this outward lunge, keep the knee pushing towards the little toe corner of your foot. To the left. Good. We'll take one more to lunge forwards. And then on this last one to the left, pause when you're there. Drive the hips towards the heel. Push the knee out towards the little toe corner of your foot. And then draw your torso up. Untuck the right toes if you had them tucked, bum towards your heel, and then slide that left heel away from you. A nice deep breath in, let the side body come long. And as you exhale, right arm reaches forwards, left hand reaches to see if it can find foot, ankle, heel, some part of left leg. And then think of pulling that leg back in towards you, as if you're trying to shrink the length of your leg. Keep the torso drawing forwards, breathing in. Allowing the body to fold with the breath out. Great, last one. And then as you exhale, release it. Push yourself up towards tabletop, 2 knees back onto the mat, and then make your way up into down dog. Let that head hang heavy, let those shoulder blades widen across the upper back. Inhale. And exhale. From here with the right leg, as you inhale, send it to the sky for 3-legged dog. That leg in the sky, the knee is going to bend, heel towards bum as you open the hip towards the right side. So really cock that knee as tall to the sky as you can. Think of your inner thighs and pull them as far away from each other as possible. From there, that knee in the sky, I want you to draw 3 big circles with the knee, as large as you can, focusing on those inner thighs getting wide. That's 2. And then for 3, lovely. We're then going to draw that knee forwards into pigeon. So the knee is going a little bit wider than the wrist. The shin is on a diagonal across the front of the mat. And then that back leg can wriggle away until we feel this stretch in the outer right hip. Maybe you want to go down to forearms. If you're feeling like it, you can extend your arms forwards and come all the way down to rest the forehead to the mat. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more as you are. On the exhale, walk your hands back up. You're then going to sit into the gap that's on the right side of you. Turn yourself to face the left side of the mat. That left leg is extended into a half straddle, and this right foot has come foot to sole of thigh. Sole of foot to inner thigh. From there, nice deep breath in, grow tall through your arms. And as you exhale, let the body fold forward. So it might not be very far, but I want you to focus on your lower back and lower belly. Keep pulling it up and out of your hip. You might find it a little more accessible if you place your right hand onto your knee, your left hand onto your foot, and then think of pulling your chest away from the pelvis. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Again, inhale and exhale. Great. As you release your fold, sit yourself tall. Your right hand is going to go off behind your hips. With a deep breath in, lift your bum off the mat. Reach through your left toes. See if you can ground them into the mat as the left arm reaches up and over for your rock star pose. Left side body feeling super long. Breathing into it. And then on the exhale, sit your bum back down. From there, the bent right leg is going to cross over to the other side of the outer left leg. You're kind of squiffy on your mat, but it doesn't matter. Right hand goes behind you. With the inhale, left arm rises high. And as you exhale, hook the arm around the leg. So you're looking over your right shoulder, using that kickstand hand behind you to keep your chest moving forwards towards your extended leg. Both sit bones stay grounded. Inhale. And exhale. Great. Last one. As you exhale, undo the twist, take this right leg, send it into the corner of the mat so you've come into a nice big straddle position. Get yourself sitting as best as you can onto your sit bones. So anterior tilt of the pelvis as if your sit bones are trying to scoot out behind you. Keep your legs very active, toes flex back towards body, heels push away, thighs are pressing down. Now, from there, as you inhale, arms are going to reach tall. Think of a very strong belly. Legs are very strong. And as you exhale, just hinge forwards ever so slightly. With the inhale, release, sit tall. As you exhale again, little lean forwards. It might not be very far. 2 more. Inhale, lifting up. Keep those legs working. Exhale, leaning a little forwards. Push the heels away. Inhale, rising up. Last one. Exhale. Coming forwards. Good, they're hard. Lift your torso up. Place that right hand back onto the mat behind you. Turn your toes to face the top of the mat. And then with an inhale, lift your hips as that left arm rises high. Push the left rib cage to the sky. Deep breath in. Steady breath out. Now your right leg, I want you to see if you can pick it up, place it to the back of the mat, left hand comes down as you unravel yourself into downward facing dog, or find your way to down dog if that didn't quite work for you. Lovely, 1 more deep breath in and all the way out. Our left leg is then going to rise to the sky, 3-legged dog. Bend the knee, heel towards bum, open that hip to face the left side. Really think of those inner thighs widening. Take a deep breath in, keep pressing chest back towards thighs. And then as you exhale, 3 big circles with that knee, slow and controlled. Focus on that left bum muscle doing all of the work there for you. And on that 3rd circle, you can then draw that knee forwards. We're coming into pigeon, knee just a little wider than the wrist. Let that back leg shuffle away. Keep the knee and the top of the foot pointing down. From there, perhaps folding slightly forwards onto forearms or maybe a little bit further. Keep a soft, when I say a soft, it's quite firm. Keep a press of the front shin down into the mat. You should feel the difference that makes into your left hip. Inhale. And exhale. Great. Draw yourself back up and out of that fold. Sit towards the left side of your mat. Kick the right toes to the sky and then draw the foot towards the inner thigh. Use that inhale. Grow tall through the lengths of the side body. And as you exhale, folding forwards, option for left hand to go to the knee and the right hand to find the foot. Breathing in. Breathing out. Pull against that foot, draw it in towards you. Take 1 more here. As you exhale, release what you have. Left hand to come to the floor behind you. Inhale, lift the hips away from the mat. Right toes reach away. See if you can plant them into the mat. Inner thighs are moving apart. Reach that right arm alongside the inhale. As you exhale, bum comes back to the mat. This left leg crosses over to the outside, the right leg. We're squiffy, but that doesn't matter. Left hand behind us, right arm to the sky, inhale. Exhale, hook the elbow around the thigh. Twist to look over that left shoulder. Keep the chest rising tall. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. With the exhale, undo the twist. Take that left leg off into the corner of the mat, back into our wide straddle position. A little bit different this time, but we'll start in the same way. Inhale, grow tall through those arms. And then as you exhale, hinge yourself forwards just like we did. Think of scooting those sit bones out behind you. This time, perhaps see if the hands can find the toes. Otherwise, they can hold the shins. But instead of thinking of trying to get as close to the floor as you can, I want you to get as long as you can out sort of off to the side of your mat. So keep that torso lengthening. Push the heels away. Breathe in. Breathing out. Let's take 1 more here. Lovely. Let yourself release whatever you have. Left hand to the floor behind you. Toes turn to face the top of the mat. As you push the hips to the sky, finding that nice long length between the thighs and that top right side of the body. Inhale and exhale. Good. That foot at the top of the mat, you're going to pick it up, see if you can put it to the back of the mat as we unflip and move our way round into downward facing. Great, take one deep breath in. And then as you exhale, just step your feet a little bit wider towards the edges of the mat. Heels can turn slightly in, and we're going to walk our way to the back of the mat into Malasana. Now, this might be a really challenging position for you because it's it looks like Skandasana, obviously, it's like a Skandasana leg on both sides. So if you're struggling to sit tall here, let just a hand come behind you so that you can find the shape without falling onto your bum over and over again. So let a hand be your support. We're pressing the thighs away from us. Doesn't have to be with our arms. We can press with our strength, taking the weight towards the outer edges of our feet. So from here, we're just going to see if we can access the Skandasana shape. And I want you to use your hands as balance, particularly if this is a shape that you're working on. So socks and slidey floors kind of help. Sticky mats aren't particularly helpful here. I want you to shift your weight towards your left leg, towards your left heel. That right hand is behind you for a little bit of balance, a little bit of stability. See if you can get yourself onto that right heel and then slide it away from you. Toes are towards the sky. So this is essentially Skandasana. We're holding ourselves up. If you don't need to hold yourself up, feel free to bring your hands in front of your chest. But sink the left sit bone towards left heel. Push away through that right heel. Lift your chest as best you can. And then perhaps even trickier is to draw that leg back in towards your Malasana. Let's try it on the other side. So shift your weight as much as you can into that right leg. That left hand is behind us to help us hold the shape if the hips and the ankles are not quite there with us yet. And then slide that left heel away. Doesn't have to be directly to the left. It can be diagonal. It's not an exact science. Keep that right knee pushing away. Press away through left heel. Holding the chest as tall as we can. Deep breath in. And then curl that leg back in towards you as you come towards your Malasana. Sit your bum to the mat and let the soles of the feet come to face each other for a big diamond-shaped legs. Interlace the hands to hold the feet. And as you sit your chest tall, drive your thighs wide. So we're not going to fold forwards because we really want to focus on this being an inner thigh stretch rather than adding in our lower back. I want you to pull your chest tall, use the strength of the legs to drive the legs away from you. Inhale and exhale. Last one. And then softly release. Now I want you to leave your feet as they are. So the little toe edge of the foot is onto the mat, the soles of the feet are facing each other. Use your hands behind you. This is kind of challenging. We're coming into a balance. So lift your bum, think of pushing your bum towards your sit bones, knees are driving away, option to stay here. If you feel that you've got a little bit of more room to work with, maybe your hands can circle out in front of you. If you've still got a little bit more to be able to give, maybe turn it into a balance by bringing your hands in front of your chest. Feel those feet and ankles wiggle. Try to keep that chest lengthening that little bit further forwards. Breathing in. Breathing out. Great. If you're still up, let your bum plop down onto the mat and bring your feet together in front of you with the thighs together as well. So similar idea, using your hands, I want you to lift your bum off the mat, walk your bum close to your heels and into a little narrow squat. Now again, either staying here with the hands on the floor, pushing our body weight forwards, belly towards thighs, knees over toes. If you've got a little bit more mobility already, maybe you can reach those arms forwards. Keep the heels down. Again, to make that harder, you could give yourself a little hug to take away that counterbalance forwards. Feel those muscles in the front of the feet, front of the shin. They're useful muscles for our Skandasana. Take one more inhale. And then see if you can push your hips to the sky. Keep your belly and thighs close together as you come to forward fold. Deep breath in. And a steady breath out. Good. Use your inhale to rise all the way up to stand. Take those arms to the sky, lengthen out. And as you exhale, release your hands by your sides. Good. Turn yourself to face the long side of your mat and step your feet wide, feet to be parallel with the short edges of the mat. Inhale, the chest rises. And as you exhale, we'll forward fold into our wide leg fold just for a moment. So the hands can then release to the mat, and maybe you want to push them into the floor to give yourself a little extra length here. Roll the sit bones up, engage the quads. Now keep those feet just as they are. I want you to walk your hands towards your right foot, bend your right knee, keep your chest facing the mat. So we're staying in this sort of folded position. Drive the right knee wide. We're then going to come all the way up and all the way over. Drive the left knee wide, keep the chest facing the mat. Good, one more all the way off towards the right. Think of the body sinking towards the inner thigh. And then all the way off towards the left. Lovely. Draw yourself back to that wide-legged position and maybe just stay up onto fingertips or a halfway lift so it's not your super intense fold. So we're going to try and come into Skandasana in the more sort of traditional sense that we find a lot in classes. So the difference being is that the toes now want to turn out, and the longer your legs are, the longer the stride needs to be between your feet. So don't be afraid to sort of shuffle where your feet are if you feel too compressed. So we're going to come down towards the right heel. Use your hands. We're going to walk our way down towards sit bone towards right heel. Let those left toes flex to the sky. Now, if we get stuck and we can't quite go further, left hand comes behind us so that we can just lean our body weight back a little bit to keep the heel down, get the sit bones low, and let that hand support us in this shape. Right arm can then push that knee wider, keep pushing away through left heel. Breathing in. Breathing out. Take one more. And then if you've got that support, you have to push your way forwards. We're going to come all the way up. Make sure those left toes are pointing away from us. Sit bone towards left heel. Keep those hips sinking low. Option for that right hand to come and catch some weight behind us so we can get low. Left arm keeps the knee driving wide. Push away through right heel. Try to sit as tall as we can to take away that fold. Chest on top of hips. Breathing in. And breathing out. Good job, guys. Use those hands. See if you can turn yourself back to face the top of the mat. Drop your back knee down to the floor. This left knee is going to hook away behind it. So inner thighs squeeze together, feet open wide towards the edges of the mat as you sit yourself between your heels for your cow-faced legs. Option to sit onto a block. From there, a deep breath in, the arms pull to the sky. And as you exhale, let the body fold a little closer towards the thighs. You can stay upright if it's too much. Both sit bones stay to the mat. Okay, one more breath in. And then sitting yourself tall, we'll go over our left shoulder. Let your feet pivot onto the spots. They don't need to move, they just need to pivot so that you can come down and find yourself in the same shape on the other side. Thighs squeeze together, knees towards midline. Deep breath in, grow tall. And as you exhale, a little bit of a fold forwards. Keep those inner thighs drawing in and the chest lengthening forwards. Last one here. And then exhale. Walk your hands in, untangle those legs out onto the mat in front of you. Have some space behind. Feet are on the floor, knees are bent. Let yourself unravel steadily down onto your back. Let your arms release alongside you and then step those feet away from you. Let the body find complete softness from head to toe. Feel the weight of the body sink down against the mat. And just allow yourself a couple of moments of stillness where there's nothing that your body needs to do but to breathe. Keep your focus on that soft breath. Allow yourself to draw back to it each time you notice that the mind is starting to wander. and taking a nice deep breath in. Reawakening with some small movements. The knees can then hug in towards your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. And then softly find your way back to seated. Find that comfortable shape, chest on top of hips. Your final inhale to circle the arms to the sky. And your final exhale to lower the hands to the belly and the chin to the chest. Thanks so much for practicing with me, guys. I hope if Skandasana is something that you're working on, perhaps that helped you feel about where your limitations are, or at least gave you some ideas of things that you can keep working on to help you find comfort in this pose. If you'd like to look through some tutorials to get a better understanding of alignment and how to work on certain poses, you can find a bunch of those in this playlist here. Otherwise, there's some more classes of mine in this playlist just here. Have a lovely rest of your day, and don't forget to hit like and leave me a comment to let me know what you thought of the class.